In my previous life, when the apocalypse arrived, my sister pushed me out of our home with her own hands. I weakly reached out, hoping Mom would save me, but Mom just hugged my sister and closed the door without looking back. The moment I opened my eyes, I suddenly found myself lying on a soft, big bed, looking at the familiar scene I knew I had returned to before the apocalypse. I quickly opened my phone. It showed the date as June 6th, early summer. This year's summer was unusually hot. As soon as June started, there were multiple heatwave warnings, and it didn't rain a single drop until the zombie outbreak at the end of August. Most crops died from the heat, and most animals were dehydrated and malnourished. Even many people working outdoors died from heatstroke. At first, everyone thought it was just extreme weather and didn't pay much attention, until a plague appeared among the animals, causing mass deaths, and then it spread to pets. Infected pets started biting their owners. Those bitten didn't die, and they started biting others indiscriminately, with extreme aggression and rapid infection. In my past life, there was no effective way to clear out large numbers of zombies before I died. Recalling this, I lowered my head and looked at the Meow silver bracelet on my left wrist. In my past life, when I was bitten by a zombie, I vaguely felt a surge of heat on my left wrist. Could it be that this bracelet had some special effect? Speaking of this bracelet, I bought it at an old lady's stall when I went to the Meow village with my sister. At that time, the old lady said that this bracelet had fate with me. I thought it was the old lady's clever sales tactic. Looking at this bracelet, I suddenly remembered a novel I read before. The protagonist would get a space by dripping blood on a bracelet. I quickly got a needle and dripped blood on the bracelet. The blood dripped on the bracelet was quickly absorbed. As expected, my head felt a wave of dizziness, and my body was teleported to another place. What appeared before my eyes was an endless expanse of land planted with grain and trees, with a 4-story villa standing tall, and a warehouse next to it. Is this the space in the bracelet? I hurried downstairs and put the food from the refrigerator into the space. I planned to test whether the interior of the villa and the warehouse could keep things fresh. After putting away the things, I started calculating that there were still more than 2 months before the apocalypse, and my savings after so many years of work were only a little over 200,000. But I remember that there was a big lottery win in mid-June before the apocalypse. I thought that person was really lucky when I saw the news. At that time, for some reason, I specifically remembered the lottery numbers. I can use them now. I went downstairs and rushed to the lottery station to buy 100 tickets with the winning numbers. Then, I returned home, picked up paper and pen, and started planning the stocking list. Before I went out just now, I put the goldfish at home into the space, proving that the space can store living things. I don't have to worry about food either, as it was already planted when I entered the space. But I can still buy some fruit trees to plant. I work for a foreign company in a big city, and I bought the apartment I live in with a loan in March. However, with the apocalypse coming, there are too many residents in the apartment, and it will become a place for zombie revelry. It seems I still need to solve the housing problem. I drove to a large wholesale market in the suburbs first, where they have everything you can and cannot think of. Walking into the wholesale market, I first bought food, rice, flour, millet, and various coarse grains. After paying, I remembered that I had nowhere to temporarily store these things, so I quickly contacted a familiar agent and rented a warehouse to store them. Then I bought various vegetables and fruits, and also bought various seasonings, hot pot base, pickled fish seasoning, etc. Finally, I went to the place selling grain seeds and fruit trees, and bought seeds for various grains, as well as saplings of the fruits I usually love to eat. I had all the bosses deliver them to the warehouse, and I continued to my next stop for stocking up. I drove to a large supermarket again. As expected, the foot traffic in the supermarket was different from the wholesale market just now. Seeing such a bustling scene again after returning from the apocalypse made me feel a little overwhelmed and nostalgic. Next, I continued my stocking up journey, but I just spent a lot of money at the wholesale market, and the money I have left now doesn't support me buying a lot of things. First I went to my favorite dessert shop and cleared out all the desserts. Then I went to my favorite restaurant to pack up the food I love. Pizza, burgers, maokai, roast duck, malatang, Shasian snacks, Japanese food, Korean food, Thai food, and my favorite northeastern cuisine. I packed a lot of everything and had it delivered home. If anyone asks, I'll say we're having a party at home, whether they believe it or not. Next, I bought a lot more food and drinks. Finally, the day of the lottery came. As expected, I won even more than the person who won in my previous life, a full 1.2 billion. After various taxes were deducted, I received over 900 million. It's worth mentioning that plants in the space grow 3 times faster than outside, meaning what normally takes 3 months to mature can be done in 1 month in the space. It seems I won't have to worry about food in this life, now that the money is in hand. The issue of housing also needs to be put on the agenda. In my previous life, at the beginning of the apocalypse, I tried everything to buy a batch of supplies and return to my hometown to be with my family. But my sister, while my parents weren't paying attention, pushed me out of the house. I desperately held onto the door, refusing to let go. But my sister kept verbally abusing me with vicious words, saying I stole her dad and mom, and took half of mom's love, asking why I didn't die outside and why I came back. After I finished listening, I shocked and loosened my grip. Before I could grab the door again, my sister shoved me out fiercely. The moment the door closed, I saw my mother. She heard my cries for help and my sister's insults, but she remained indifferent. I remembered that my sister was always doted on by our parents. After all, she was their late-born child. Whenever I told my parents that my sister was wrong and that they shouldn't spoil her so much, I was always met with their stern criticism and my sister's eye rolls. Everything was always supposed to be for my sister. There was always a saying, the older sister should yield to the younger sister. To suppress me, my efforts were always taken for granted. Living a second life, I don't actually hate them. After all, I didn't see any hope in my parents or my sister, so there was no disappointment. As my thoughts slowly returned, I picked up my phone and called the agent I used last time to rent a warehouse. I told her I wanted to sell the apartment I was currently living in and asked her to help me inquire if there were any villas for sale in the Qingshan Villa area in the suburbs. Qingshan Villa is built on a mountain, with only a few dozen houses. The distance between each house is very far, and they are all finely decorated. I heard that the exterior walls are made of high-grade materials. After dealing with the houses, I started stocking up again. I was swiping through various food delivery apps, grocery shopping apps, and shopping apps. A few more days passed while stockpiling, and the agent finally inquired that a family at Qingshan Villa planned to sell their house due to immigration. I quickly asked the agent to reserve it for me. Coincidentally, my small apartment also had a buyer, so I immediately had the agent arrange for both parties to meet, so we could settle everything together. After a morning of busy work, the house was finally mine. Next up was my villa renovation plan. I really like a certain internet celebrity on Douyin. Their home is full of secret base vibes, the kind with multiple hideouts. I contacted 2 renovation teams to remodel the villa, and also had workers install electric fences around the perimeter wall. I stayed at a hotel and continued to go out stockpiling every day, buying pots, pans, household electrical appliances, bedding, toiletries, feminine hygiene products, as well as various tissues, wet wipes, toilet paper, and clothes for different seasons. When I passed by an outdoor gear store, I was attracted by the merchandise inside. They actually had some black technology clothing that could resist high temperatures. With a grand gesture, I bought out the store's entire inventory, and also bought protective clothing for extreme cold and various camping supplies. During this time, I also made a trip to a farm and bought pigs, cattle, sheep, chickens, ducks, and geese to raise in my space. I also went to a slaughterhouse and bought a lot of pre-butchered meat, because I still needed to eat meat before they grew up. Time flew by, and it was July. The house was half finished. I planned to go to a coastal city to stock up on seafood in my space. I flew to the coastal city and went to the beach for a while before starting to stock up on supplies everywhere. After staying in the coastal area for a week, I flew to the grassland city and stocked up on cattle and sheep there, as well as various dairy products, beef jerky, and so on. Back in my city, I suddenly remembered that water resources would be scarce in the apocalypse. I quickly went to the water plant to stock up on bottled water and to the cat litter factory to stock up on cat litter. I also bought a vacuum machine, because in the future, trash wouldn't be able to be disposed of properly. I could just vacuum seal it at home and throw it into my space. I also ordered various disposable items online for when I couldn't wash things. In my own city, I went back to my routine of supervising construction during the day and raiding snack streets, restaurants, and drink shops at night. Just like that, another half-month passed, and the house construction was finally completed. After inspection, I paid the construction team, and then I started looking for people to install various electrical appliances. In each secret base, I installed a TV, air conditioner, and refrigerator, so that I could have electricity in every corner of the villa. I also bought a solar generator and a diesel generator. I had the workers install the diesel generators in very hidden corners, and they were covered with sound insulation cotton on the outside. Before, when I bought a computer at the mall, I paid someone to download many games that don't need internet, as well as various TV series, novels, science popularization videos, etc., onto the hard drive. In addition, monitors are also essential. Each room and secret base is equipped with monitors. There are also monitors at various angles outside the house and beyond the walls. All doors of the house use bank-grade anti-theft doors, and the windows use bank-grade bulletproof windows. Film is also applied to the outside of the windows to ensure that people outside cannot see clearly into the room. The first and second floors are also equipped with anti-theft bars. Beside the rooftop swimming pool, there are also large water storage equipment to store rainwater. The downstairs rooms are installed with filters that can be used to filter rainwater. The upper floors of the house were simply decorated by designers to look like a normal house, while I focused on decorating several secret bases underground. These secret bases each have their own generator and a set of anti-theft measures, meaning that even I need a map and a magnetic card to get in. And my sense of security keeps increasing. After all, even my family would betray me, so I need an extremely secure environment to get through these dark times. I also bought large milliampere power banks and energy storage devices, each fully charged. In the secret bases, I also placed massage chairs perfect for slouching, massage mattresses, fitness equipment, and Lego and jigsaw puzzles suitable for passing the time. In addition, during the stocking period, I went to the pharmacy every day to stock up on medicine, including cold medicine, anti-diarrheal medicine, painkillers, fever reducers, anti-inflammatory drugs, cough medicine, bandages, disinfectant, Yunnan Baiyao, Nyohuang Jiedu Pian, etc. For non-prescription drugs, I also placed orders online to stock up. I also used my financial power to get a batch of medicines that cannot be seen on the market, such as antibiotics, anesthetics, and morphine, and also prepared Chinese herbal powder to fight snakes, insects, rats, and ants. I also bought Chinese herbal seeds and planted them in my space, and bought various Chinese medicinal materials. Although I don't know how to use them, I want to possess them. For these Chinese medicinal materials, I also downloaded TCM theories and bought books on TCM. Money makes the mare go, so I spent a lot of money in the black market to buy guns and various sharpened knives for self-defense. During this period, I returned to my rural home a few times. Although I was very disappointed with my family, they did raise me for 20 years after all. I bought them a lot of easy-to-store canned food and vacuum-packed food. I also bought some rice, and a lot of compressed biscuits, instant noodles, sausages, water, salt, etc. My mom asked me, "Why are you buying so many things?" I said, "Our company recently received a batch of foreign clients, who said that the situation in neighboring countries is tense and food prices might rise." I also told her that our company will send me abroad soon, and I might not be back for a long time. She didn't say anything after hearing that. Next, I bought them a generator and refrigerator and freezer, and a lot of fresh meat and frozen food. I told her to salt the meat, which wouldn't spoil no matter how long it was stored. I also gave her some money and told her to stock up on vegetables and grains and put them in the cellar, filling it up. Finally, I also brought a few super thick down jackets and snow boots, and gave them 3 pieces of black technology heat-resistant clothing. Before I left, my sister sarcastically said to me, "Mom and Dad raised you so much, and you're just leaving to enjoy yourself abroad." Have you ever thought about mom and dad? Let me tell you, I won't stay at home after I graduate. I'm going to another city, I said. Then you stay at home honestly now, and go out after you graduate. She rolled her eyes at me and said, none of your business. Then turned and left. After taking a few steps, she turned back and said to me, did you buy me the perfume, cosmetics, and bags I wanted? Also, transfer some money to me. I want to get my nails done. I told her. These are not things a high school student needs. I won't give you money or buy them for you, she said. You don't need to lecture me here. If you don't want to give it, then forget it. As I turned my head, I saw my mom watching us from behind. I was just about to ask her to discipline her. My mom said, I'm old now and can't control her anymore. As soon as I say something to her, she wants to argue, so let her be. But I'm not made of dough. Just as I was about to go up and teach her a lesson, my mom called me back. Don't you have work? Hurry back. I turned back and said to my mom expressionlessly, She truly dotes on her younger daughter as always. She listened calmly when her younger daughter asked me for money, but she stopped me when I was about to discipline her. I looked at my mom, smiled, and turned to leave. Anyway, I only came back this time to deliver supplies, as a way of repaying the nurturing of the past 20 years. Driving, I returned to the safe harbor I had built for myself. Time flew by to early August. The apocalypse was getting closer and closer, and the temperature outside was getting higher and higher. I put the food from outside into my space, only keeping some that wasn't too noticeable. The weather outside was getting hotter and hotter. I increased my daily ice production from 1 bucket to 3 buckets of ice and 3 buckets of water. Although I had stockpiled a lot of bottled water before, you can never have too many supplies. During this time, I still went out during the cooler parts of the day to stock up on my favorite snacks, pack takeout from restaurants, buy cold drinks from beverage shops, and order takeout that wouldn't be too conspicuous. I plan to stop going out once the temperature outside reaches 50 degrees Celsius. After all, I don't lack anything. I can just stay at home every day, watch the news, and find out how the outside world is progressing. At first, everyone was calm, but as the weather got hotter and hotter, and the temperature rose every day, people started to hoard things. First rice, then water, then paper towels. After a period of hoarding, the temperature calmed down for a while, and people also calmed down. Many people at this time felt that those who had hoarded food before were fools, just following rumors, and gradually the hoarding pace slowed down. From the moment people started hoarding food, I never went out again. In the villa, I also created an appearance of being uninhabited, with all the doors locked, and the iron gates on the first floor windows also locked. I sat in my third floor monitoring room, relying on monitors and binoculars to observe the changes outside. Day 3 of the apocalypse countdown. I moved my belongings to the 3rd floor, planning to stay on the 3rd floor before the apocalypse. After all, it's the highest point, convenient for observing the changes outside. Once there are no people nearby, I will return to the underground secret base. One day before the apocalypse countdown, it's a work day, and everyone is still going to work as usual. Like a calm before the storm, I have been following the news on Weibo. Shocking. Creatures resembling zombies appeared at City A airport. Subsequently, several videos were trending, and everyone reposted them. I knew the apocalypse had begun. Then a few more terms appeared on the trending list. Zombies appear in City A. Undefeatable zombies. The spread through bites is extremely fast. After City A's news hit the trending list, another wave of panic buying swept through my city. But this time, people weren't as lucky in grabbing supplies. After all, the zombie virus spreads incredibly fast. My city is adjacent to City A, and the virus quickly spread here. Many people who went out to buy supplies were attacked by zombies. For a time, wails, roars, and screams filled this land. Black crows circled. The scorching sun blazed. Everything was suffocating. People could only flee helplessly, but it was a hellscape everywhere. Where could they escape to? Where would the exit be? Everywhere was an abyss. I felt the terror of the zombie apocalypse once again. Although I've been reborn, seeing those zombies, I still feel like I'm back in my past life. The moment my neck was bitten off by a zombie, I didn't dare to keep looking outside. I lay on my bed, shrinking myself under the covers. I huddled under the covers, not daring to move, until night fell, and the fear instantly swept through my entire body. At the beginning of the apocalypse, some people were still posting updates on my phone, and some were comforting each other. A month ago, I posted on Moments saying, "Due to a job transfer, I am going abroad and will be temporarily suspending my WeChat account." So, not many people messaged me to check in, and I didn't reply to the few who did ask. The experiences of my previous life made me unwilling to trust others again. I'd rather stay alone in my base, like a turtle hiding in its shell. I sat in the dim room for a long time, slowly recovering. I came to the underground secret base, planning to watch a variety show to relieve my suppressed emotions. As expected, when people are stressed, watching a comedy variety show is the best way to de-stress. In the evening, I took out a bowl of packed spicy hot pot and a can of iced cola. I had meat, vegetables, and the source of happiness, carbonated drinks. I was very satisfied eating it. I took out my phone and looked at the real-time news of the day. The government urged residents to stay at home, not go out, and try not to make noise to protect themselves. I continued to browse a few more videos. I found someone posting videos of fighting zombies on a video website. A group of burly men with baseball bats, hitting zombies on the head, then breaking out of the zombie encirclement, rushing to a truck, and driving away. Where there are people doing it, there are people watching. Where there are people watching, there are people learning. Some people are really going out to fight zombies for food. But as I kept scrolling, the tone of the videos changed, becoming more colorful. In the context of survival of the fittest, weak women are very miserable. Of course, there are also women who sell themselves for a bite of food. For a time, some idle people in society were seen with women on each arm, and jealousy among women was everywhere. All of this challenged my worldview. The days passed one by one, and people with guns started appearing outside. I don't know where these people got their guns from. For the first few days, I could still keep up with what was happening outside by repeatedly watching videos. But in the last couple of days, the internet went down. I can't watch videos anymore, so I can't keep up with what's happening outside through the internet. But it's probably for the best, since these videos just made me feel worse and worse the more I watched them. During this time, the worst of human nature, the kind you see in those pleas for help videos, was amplified infinitely in the disaster. Before the zombies, the internet was clean. Now that the zombies have broken out and there are no police online, the evil in human nature is amplified to the extreme. The videos I've watched these past few days have been constantly challenging my worldview, as if the civilized society that has been passed down for thousands of years collapsed in an instant. Maybe hell's been too busy lately, so the demons have descended upon the human world. Today marks a full month since the zombie outbreak. I'm still holed up in the safe harbor I built for myself, living happily. I'm holding a milk tea, lounging in a massage chair and watching variety shows. Life's gotten a little boring. It hasn't rained in many days. It's terribly hot outside. I haven't seen the sun in over a month, and my skin has become a bit pale. The power went out long ago, but thankfully, solar power and the generator can continue to supply me with electricity. Although underground, the room was still stuffy. I wasn't worried about electricity, but I still didn't turn on the high-power electrical appliances, afraid others would hear. Better safe than sorry. I took out a large block of ice from my space and placed it under the fan. Instantly, a cool breeze swept over me, dispelling the stuffy feeling. I continued watching variety shows for a while until evening. I got up, went to the fitness equipment, ran for a bit, and lifted weights, sweating all over. I took a shower in the bathroom, and after coming out, I started rummaging through the food in my space. I took out a portion of pickled fish and happily started eating. Actually, these kinds of days are still quite enjoyable. After eating, I vacuumed, sealed the trash and threw it into my space. My space is truly thriving now. The land is planted with grains, vegetables, fruits, and medicinal herbs. The pond next to it is stocked with seafood, fish, and shrimp. On the other side, various animals are free, ranging. I withdrew my consciousness from my space and went out to walk around the house a few times, observing the surroundings. I have to say, The advantage of having few people here is that, at least for now, there haven't been any zombie outbreaks, and it's quite quiet. After walking for a while, I returned to my small room and continued lounging in bed, watching shows, with zombies rampant. Not having new shows to watch is really a bit sad, but I was so focused on work before that I didn't watch many TV series, so this is also a form of compensation. I'm still continuing to slack off day by day. However, the outside world is not as peaceful as here. Now, food and daily necessities are hard currency outside. Some people sell their bodies for a pack of compressed biscuits, and some kill for a cigarette. In the middle of the night, a strong wind suddenly blew outside, making the branches rustle ceaselessly. It seems the high-temperature weather will pass soon, but extreme heat is followed by extreme cold, just like entering the Ice Age. Listening to the wind and sand blowing outside, I recalled the specific time of my previous life. After the extreme heat, it started raining heavily. It rained for a whole month before stopping. Many cities were flooded. After the heavy rain, the temperature dropped sharply, and it entered extreme cold weather. Many people froze to death because they didn't have cold weather gear. I died in the extreme cold in my previous life. At that time, most zombies were frozen in ice, but for some reason, a group of zombies suddenly appeared in our village, like a locust plague. Thinking back now, the country probably started clearing out zombies then, possibly using a method of driving them away. That group of zombies was probably driven over. I think, as long as I can get through the extreme cold, I will win, and I will be able to survive. Thinking about these things, I casually took a bag of potato chips from the snack rack and opened a cup of fruit tea, with a comfortable sigh. In this damn weather, only fruit tea can save my dog's life. I didn't want to eat anything hot at night, so I took out the seafood platter I had packed from the Japanese restaurant earlier and enjoyed a comfortable meal. After finishing my late night snack and tidying up the trash, I fell asleep. I woke up at noon the next day, covered in sweat. Fortunately, I had stocked up on plenty of water, but I still needed to use it sparingly. I usually use the water from my bath to water my vegetable patch in my space. It's strange, but there are two types of water in my space. One is the seawater I collect from outside to keep seafood in the pond, and the other is a small river that comes with the space. The plants and animals in the space rely on this river to live, but I alone cannot approach this river, nor can I draw water from it or get close to it. However, even without the river water, the water I've stocked up is enough for me for decades. When the heavy rain comes, the water storage devices on the roof and the swimming pool can also store some water, which can be filtered and boiled for bathing. I took a cup of coffee and a panini from my space. After finishing my breakfast, I checked the monitor footage again to see if anything unusual had happened. After checking, I didn't find anything, but the outside temperature had dropped a few degrees. I went to the gym to work out. After all, staying at home and eating 3 or 4 meals a day requires some exercise. After spending 2 hours at the gym, I went back to my massage chair to watch shows. Another few days of peaceful life passed. As the temperature slowly dropped, people gradually started to appear outside again. Many were no longer afraid of the sun and came out to search for food. When the weather was hot, people had poor appetites, and there was also the risk of heat stroke at high temperatures. So not many people came out. As the temperature gradually dropped, hidden sin and violence reappeared under the sunlight. The recent temperature has dropped to around 30 degrees, much cooler than before. Although it's still muggy, you can feel a gentle breeze. At night, I took out a lounge chair, brought a bottle of red wine, and lay on the rooftop watching the stars. This is on the mountain, usually deserted, so there are no zombies now. Most zombies are gathered in crowded places in the city. After the zombie outbreak, the air quality also improved dramatically. With no pollution, the stars in the night sky are clearly visible. In a daze, I seem to have returned to my childhood, returned to that carefree age. I put down the red wine in my hand, took out orange soda from my space, and the lounge chair swayed back and forth, truly giving a feeling of peaceful, good times. Suddenly, a sound of explosion came from the distance. After the sound, a plume of thick smoke rose. It should be the sound from the town at the foot of the mountain. Oh, someone's here. It seems a group of violent elements is not far from me. If it were just one or two people, they wouldn't make such a loud noise. In the apocalypse, the most terrifying thing isn't zombies, but people. In my past life, my village had a good location. Even though I was kicked out of my house, I managed to survive the extreme cold by relying on the stored food from a nearby farmer's house whose family had left the village. Although I hid in that farmer's house, there were still people who, due to their laziness and lack of stored food, kicked their elderly out of their homes. The elders who were driven out either hid and survived the zombie bites but starved to death due to lack of food, or didn't have time to hide and were bitten by zombies. In my past life, from the moment I hid in that farmer's house, I didn't dare to show my face outside. It wasn't until the extreme cold that I ate all the farmer's family's meager stored food. I was forced to go out to find food, and that's when I was bitten by a zombie. My thoughts returned, and I felt they would definitely search all the way up the mountain. I quickly put everything on the rooftop terrace into my space. The water storage device was blocked by the rooftop wall, and couldn't be seen from downstairs, so I didn't take it. Entering the rooftop room, I collected everything in the house, including the monitor videos. Luckily, I had previously saved a copy of the monitor videos in the secret base. I checked the door lock and windows, making sure they were all locked. Luckily, I had applied privacy film to the windows beforehand. I quickly covered all the useless furniture with white cloths, creating some dust to give the illusion that no one lived there. After everything was done, I checked again and collected everything usable into my space, turned around and went back underground, then closed the passage from the ground to underground tightly and covered it up. I finally breathed a sigh of relief. It was already late at night. I forced myself to sleep. Only by sleeping well could I fight the upcoming tough battle. When I woke up, I quickly went to the monitor. As expected, a group of people drove up the mountain. 2 modified jeeps sped up the mountain. I stared at the monitor, my heart pounding so hard it felt like it would jump out. But then I thought, I'm underground now. They won't find me. The roar of the cars grew louder and then closer, and finally, they turned off nearby. I saw several people get out of the cars through the monitor. There were 9 of them, 6 men and 3 women. They looked at the mansion on the mountaintop with interest and started exploring room by room. Although all the villas on this mountain were fully furnished, my villa was clearly an upgraded version. After walking around, this group still set their sights on my villa. Although I used anti-theft doors and windows, they couldn't get in for a while, but it wasn't a long-term solution. The monitors around my house are all pinhole cameras with listening devices. I could clearly hear their conversation outside the wall. Fatty said, "This place is so well decorated. There must be something valuable here. They must be rich or noble. Let's pry it open and go in." Red Hair said, "Boss, this place doesn't look like it's occupied. Why are you talking nonsense? Hurry up and pry it open," Fatty said, slapping Red Hair on the head. It was already noon, and these people were still working hard under the sun outside, while I took out a spicy pot and started eating. Alas, when they pry the lock and come in, I wonder what they'll think when they see a house full of junk. When I came down from upstairs, I had already collected all the generators and solar panels. The upstairs of the villa is not as good as other renovated apartments. Those guys endured the high temperature and worked hard for a few more hours. Finally prying the door open, several people rushed through the main door and entered the courtyard. I thought, this door is said to be bank level. I must have been tricked. The fatty in the lead came in and spat on the ground. I want to see what kind of golden nest this is, with such a heavy door. Old 6, tell everyone to move the luggage in. I discovered they had entered from the secret base. The one leading the way was that fatty, with a scar on his face that looked terrifying. Following close behind was the red-haired guy, who looked roguish, with yellow teeth when he smiled, and was very waithua. As soon as they entered the door, they looked around. Beside Fatty, a man as thin as a skeleton was holding a toolbox, probably the one who pried the door open just now. Behind him followed a short man with a small mustache. The 4 men in front all looked quite old, definitely over 30. The 2 who came in behind looked much younger. One had a rugged appearance and dark skin, and seemed to have rarely spoken since birth, looking quite dull. The other man wore glasses, looked refined and scholarly, appearing to have a higher level of education. the last 3 women to enter. The one in front wore a tight red dress, had exquisite makeup on her face, wasn't carrying much, and looked around the villa with satisfaction upon entering. It seems this woman was doing well in the apocalypse, as women who can wear makeup and dresses in the apocalypse are still a minority. The 2 women following behind were carrying quite a few things. One of them had a pale complexion, looking like she could collapse at any moment. Her long hair seemed a bit tangled, but her features were very delicate. The other girl wore a short, sleeved denim outfit, had neat short hair, and was dragging pots and pans taken from the car. As soon as they came in, Fatty cursed. "MD, I thought this place was great, but those few broken doors outside were installed so sturdily. I collected all the good stuff from upstairs into the space. Now, the living room upstairs only has some tables and chairs, and the rooms only have bedboards." The leading fatty kicked the bed a few times. They started packing their belongings and tidying up the room, and time quickly passed until evening, because strangers arrived these past few days. I planned to eat some of the less pungent things I had stocked up, so as not to be detected by those upstairs. There were people living upstairs, which gave me a very peculiar feeling, but at least it added a bit of fun to my life. I observed the lives of the people upstairs as if I were watching a TV show. I took out a sandwich and a salad, planning to eat dinner while watching. Upstairs was also preparing dinner at this time. A handful of rice was put into a pot of water, along with a piece of pitch, black stuff. I saw that girl add another handful of wild vegetables, but there was still more water than vegetables in the pot. The girl with the pale face stirred the unappetizing looking stuff in the pot without a word. Another girl with short hair put water to boil, added a packet of noodles and instant noodles, and a little greens. This pot wasn't much better than the previous one. Still more water than noodles. After cooking, the pale-faced girl divided the noodles into 6 bowls. She then ladled 3 bowls of porridge from another pot and placed them nearby. After finishing this, she took her own bowl of porridge, squatted in the corner, and drank it carefully. The others saw and came over to eat as well. The men ate noodles, and the women drank porridge. At this moment, a sense of hierarchy suddenly appeared. After a few people finished eating, they sat in place and chatted. Red Hair asked Fatty, "Big brother, where are we going next?" Fatty wiped the water stains from the corner of his mouth and said, "Head north. I heard that area is already under government control, and we can get food there." Red Hair glanced lecherously at the women, saying, "Boss, once we reach the government-controlled territory, we won't have to worry about food and drink. But will we still be as free as we are now?" He looked at the women beside him again as he spoke. He continued, "Boss, I think this place is pretty good. It's in the middle of nowhere, backed by mountains, and we can go out to find some wild vegetables to eat. We can also occasionally go down the mountain to get some food. In any case, we won't starve. Plus, there are few people here and not many zombies. If we fix the big iron gate outside, we won't have to live in fear anymore. The Shao Red Hair has good taste." Fatty also fell into thought after hearing Red Hair's words. "I planned to find a novel to pass the time." At this moment, a sound came from upstairs, and I looked at the monitor. I saw the Shao Huzi man dragging the white-skinned woman behind the door and starting to rip her clothes. I already knew what was going to happen next, but I couldn't save her. I'm just a woman, even with a weapon for self-defense. I couldn't subdue 6 men by myself. I turned my head away, no longer looking at the monitor, and turned off the sound. But I couldn't concentrate on the novel in my hands anymore. At this moment, I witnessed the despair of the apocalypse again. But I absolutely can't be a saint. These women clearly understood their fate. When the short-haired woman saw this scene, she trembled all over. Fatty spat and said, "MD, this old fourth can't hold back so quickly." After speaking, he waved at the woman in the red dress. The woman immediately understood and hugged Fatty. The other 4 men looked at the remaining short-haired woman with greedy eyes. Soon, the man with the mustache who came out first had come out from behind the door. These 4 men dispersed, 2 holding down the short-haired woman, and the other 2 went behind the door. The night was very deep, and there were insect chirps outside, reminding me that this was the human world. But the roars, please, and cries from upstairs made me feel like I was in hell. I didn't dare to look at the monitor, but what I had just seen, along with the sounds from upstairs, was enough to make me feel intensely nauseous. I kept vomiting until I couldn't throw up anything more. What happened to this world? Is it broken? As a woman, must you endure this? I've always thought that in my past life, I hid in that small village and didn't experience these things. In this life, I've prepared in advance and don't have to experience them. I am Xingyun. At night, I was groggy and fell asleep at some point. In my dreams, zombies from my past life were tearing at my flesh, and the girls who had fallen into the abyss were asking me why I didn't save them. At 9 in the morning, I finally escaped from the dream, breaking out in a cold sweat. I got up to check the monitor and found that the group of people upstairs had left the room at some point. I checked the perimeter monitors again and found they had all gone out to look for food. The men went down the mountain. The women dug for wild vegetables. And so, a few days passed. From my observation, Fatty is the boss of this group, and Red Hair is the one who comes up with bad ideas and is Fatty's most trusted. He's the second in command. Everyone else listens to them. The woman in the red dress is Fatty's lover. Everyone calls her Sister Jew. She only serves Fatty. The pale-faced girl is Clara. She often stays silent with a vacant expression, and has been in this group for a long time. The short-haired girl is Elena. She should have joined this group not long ago, because unlike Clara, she still has the desire to live in her eyes. Although these three women are all in darkness, I observed that there was no communication between them. Sister Jew is always wary of these two young girls, fearing they might move up in the ranks. Elena has been asking the two young men when they are heading north. These two men are Old Fifth and Old Six. Clara, on the other hand, often remains silent, sitting alone in a corner, looking outside. The skeleton in the group is Old Third, and Diego is Old Fourth. I observed them every day, afraid they would discover the slightest clue, and find out that I live here. I pray every day that they leave here soon. But life is unpredictable, and what happens in reality always goes against one's thoughts. This morning, Fatty and Red Hair told them they weren't going north anymore and planned to settle down in this place. This place can shelter them from wind and rain. They can find food here, and there are no zombies. Compared to the uncertainty of going north, this is a good safe harbor. After hearing these words, Clara obviously moved, as if she had something to say. But in the end, she kept her mouth shut. Elena stood up and asked, "Why?" Red Hair slapped her. "Listen to what boss says. You little, how dare you ask why? You're getting too bold." After speaking, Red Hair spat at Elena again. Elena was so scared that she shivered and squatted on the ground, not daring to make a sound. Then Sister Jew spoke. "All of us here have survived through these cannibalistic times thanks to Boss. We rely on Boss's wisdom and might here." After speaking, Sister Jew threw a flirtatious glance at Fatty. Flattery never fails. Fatty was clearly pleased by Sister Jew's words. Listening to their conversation, my thoughts raced. If they want to put down roots here, what about me? I can't live underground forever, risking being discovered. How can I make them leave? I was lost in my thoughts and missed the immense hatred for them in Clara's eyes. And so, another 2 days of peaceful life passed. I was still holed up underground, thinking about how to drive these invaders out. At that moment, Clara entered the bathroom with a bag of things. She opened the bag, mashed the contents into a juice, put it in a small bag, and took it out. I watched her fiddle around for a while, not knowing what she was up to, but I didn't care what she wanted to do, as long as I wasn't exposed. It had nothing to do with me. At night, I lay in bed thinking about what to eat today. I haven't eaten anything hot in many days. I haven't dared to go into the space to eat for the past 2 days, fearing that the moment I leave the monitor, the risk of being discovered will increase. As I was thinking, they had already started eating upstairs. A pot of wild vegetable soup with mushrooms in it. It looked like they were picked from the mountains. Clara secretly added something to it where it couldn't be seen, and then added a handful of rice. After cooking, as usual, 6 bowls were given to the men to eat, and the 3 women could only drink wild vegetable soup, with very few wild vegetables in it. Looking at their food, I instantly lost my appetite and took out the frozen lemon tea and shrimp dumplings I had packed from the tea restaurant earlier to make do. They were eating coarse food upstairs. and I was making do with a simple bite downstairs. The insects chirped non-stop at night, since humans stopped production. Many more creatures have appeared in the mountains and wild, with the insects chirping non-stop here. That group of people upstairs were also inexhaustible in their lives. The screams of women and the curses of men were endless. When will this kind of life ever end? Suddenly, Old Fourth, who was grabbing Clara, foamed at the mouth and fell to the ground, while Fatty began to twitch. The other men all experienced the same situation. Clara picked up a wooden stick nearby and hit Old Fourth's head, saying, "You trash, die, beast, trash. You don't deserve to be human." In an instant, Old Fourth's head was bleeding profusely, flowing onto the ground. Clara seemed unable to stand seeing Old Fourth already dead, and continued to smash him. Red Hair next to her moved, and Clara immediately switched targets and smashed towards Red Hair. Sister Jew and Elena watched the frenzied Clara, terrified. When they came to their senses, only Old Six with glasses and Fatty Boss were left. Sister Jew quickly protected her throat and yelled at Clara, "Are you crazy? You killed them all. What are we going to do? Can we women survive in the apocalypse?" Clara looked at her without speaking and walked towards Old Six. Just as she reached Old Six's side and raised the wooden stick to smash him down, Elena walked over, saying, "He never bullied you. Why do you want to kill them all?" Clara laughed. "He didn't bully me, so should I thank him? Standing by and watching is also a crime. Didn't he stir up trouble? Wasn't he part of this group? What, do you like him?" Clara looked at Elena with a cold laugh. Elena's scalp tingled. "I just think this is too cruel. You shouldn't do this. Without them, we wouldn't have made it to the shelter." Clara didn't continue listening to Elena and brought her bat down, splitting Old Six's head open. She then rushed towards Sister Jew and Fatty. Sister Jew fiercely protected Fatty, preventing Clara from getting close. Clara hit Sister Jew on the head with her bat, then took the knife from Fatty and stabbed Sister Jew. Elena, seeing Clara attack Sister Jew, was instantly scared stiff. After stabbing Sister Jew, Clara stabbed Fatty more than a dozen times. I watched what was happening upstairs and felt terrible, but she killed so many people here. The smell of blood is overwhelming, and the noise is so loud. I'm afraid zombies will come. I quickly pulled up the external monitor, and as I watched the screen, my heart tightened. The zombies were already approaching. My nice villa just turned into a crime scene, and now it's going to become a buffet for zombies. My life is truly so bitter. Right now, the only living people left in the villa are Clara, who's gone mad, Elena, who's been scared stiff, and me, hiding underground. Even though I'm scared, I know I'm safe because the zombies can't find a way in. Obviously, Clara upstairs also heard the zombies roaring outside, so she quickly grabbed all the useful stuff and hurried upstairs. Elena also snapped out of it and followed Clara upstairs. They ran up to the 3rd floor, sealed all the doors and windows, and hid in the bedroom I had on the 3rd floor before. They had just hidden when a large group of zombies arrived downstairs and started tearing into the corpses. For a moment, swallowing sounds, tearing sounds, and chewing sounds filled my eardrums, making every nerve tremble. These sounds instantly pulled me back to my past life, to the time when zombies were biting my neck. I didn't dare to watch anymore, so I switched the monitor to the 3rd floor, planning to see how the 2 people upstairs were doing. Upstairs, one person looked indifferent, with a calm expression of revenge fulfilled, while the other was pale with panic, her legs trembling. Elena is in a bad spot right now, with man-eating zombies downstairs and a murderous lunatic upstairs. So I pity Elena, but not myself. I was just trying to lie low and stay out of trouble. But now it's come to this. In this situation, another week passed smoothly. The weather gradually returned to normal. The high temperatures were no longer as outrageous, and there were even a few rain showers. The 2 of them also managed to get by for a while thanks to the water tank on my rooftop. The zombies downstairs hadn't left and were still lingering around there. Because of the rain showers, the temperature dropped faster and faster, quickly going from a heatwave warning to 5 or 6 degrees. It was okay during the day, not too cold with the sunlight. At night, the north wind picked up, and it was bone-chillingly cold. I wasn't in a hurry. I knew that, after the high temperatures, it would freeze, and when it froze, the zombies' movements would become slow, making them easier to deal with. But the two women upstairs weren't as relaxed as I was. They were short on food and clothing. After all, they came when it was still hot, and they were all wearing summer clothes. However, the room they were hiding in was one I had lived in before. Although I had taken most of my belongings, there were still bedsheets, pillowcases, and a summer quilt on the bed. In a hidden compartment at the back of the cabinet, there was also a box of compressed biscuits I had forgotten about. Clara and Elena draped the bedsheets and quilts over themselves, and Clara even shared half of the compressed biscuits with Elena. This girl is kind at heart. She only resisted after being oppressed for too long. In the following days, the temperature dropped lower and lower, as if winter had suddenly arrived. With a cliff-like drop in temperature, I wasn't paying attention to the two women upstairs. I didn't want to expose myself, nor would I have any savior complex. Now, the two of them are on the third floor and won't hear me underground. I've started my leisurely life of drinking tea, eating snacks, watching variety shows, and exercising every day. As the temperature continues to drop, the zombies around have started to move slowly, and their perception of sound and smell has also weakened. It seems that a bright new future is about to arrive. The two upstairs, without food, will probably have a hard time making it through. Days went by, and gunshots and helicopter sounds came from the distant town. Rescue has begun, and the army is clearing out survivors from the town towards the suburbs. Little by little, Elena heard the sound and her face lit up with surprise, while Clara remained expressionless, picking at her dirt-covered coat. After all, for such a long time, there was no way to bathe regularly, and even wiping couldn't get rid of the strange smell. As time goes by, if rescue doesn't arrive in time, they will reach their limit. My villa is located on a mountain with sparse population, and the army usually starts searching from densely populated towns and villages. However, the roads in the town below the mountain lead directly to the mountain, and there are signs for the villa area at the town intersections, so the army should come up to search and rescue when they see them. 3 days later, a small team arrived in a military truck. After the vehicle entered, I turned off all electronic devices and all the visible monitors, leaving only a few hidden ones that could observe the outside. After all, I shouldn't challenge a soldier's perceptiveness. I don't want to leave here. I just want to survive alone quietly until the end of the apocalypse. For me, zombies haven't caused much trouble. After all, I'm not leaving this place, but it's different for the two women upstairs. Elena was clearly unable to contain her excitement, like a traveler seeing an oasis in the desert. I'm here. Hurry and save me. Hurry and save me. Elena broke free from Clara's hand and ran to the balcony shouting. I cursed the idiot in my heart. Not only did the soldier hear the call for help, but the nearby zombies also heard it and immediately rushed towards the villa. The soldier over there also immediately took his gun and grenades to clear the surrounding zombies. The current zombies, due to the weather, were no match for the soldiers. After a few hours, the situation was under control. As soon as the soldiers entered, Elena impatiently came downstairs and clung to a soldier. While clinging, she said, "Please, save me. I can give you everything I have." The soldier quickly took a step back, moving away from Elena. The leading soldier, frowning, said to Elena with a solemn face, "Saving people is our responsibility. We will take you out, asking for nothing in return." After speaking, he ordered his subordinates to continue investigating, and went to other villas himself. As expected, people nurtured by the parental state are so upright and incorruptible. I dare not stare at the monitor all the time. I don't know if it's an illusion, but I always feel that the leading officer seems to have sensed my presence. But it doesn't matter. As long as I don't go out actively, no one can find me. I continued to watch the two women. Clara sat quietly on the side, while Elena kept hooking the nearby soldier with her eyes. I always feel that these two women are not mentally well, but it's normal in the apocalypse. After all, Elena used her body for food and warmth before, so it's inevitable that she would hook up with men like this now. However, she seems to have ignored that she hasn't eaten anything for a long time and hasn't cleaned herself either. Her current appearance is simply a walking skeleton, and she emits a strange smell. The nearby soldiers dared not approach her. Just as everyone was organizing their equipment and supplies, A red figure suddenly flashed out and went towards a small soldier. In a flash, Clara pulled that soldier over and stepped forward herself. Elena, standing nearby, was scared stiff and hugged a nearby soldier. This soldier's hand, which was about to reach for his gun, was blocked by her, causing him to miss the best shooting time. Clara, having been hungry for too long, quickly lost strength holding back the zombie's hand. The zombie bit Clara's arm, and at that moment, an officer entered and shot the red-clothed zombie dead. But Clara had already been infected. I looked at this girl. She was about to have a bright future. As an observer, I hope she can have a good ending. Upon closer inspection, the red-clothed zombie was Sister Jew. Turns out she didn't die when she was stabbed back then. When the zombies came, she got infected and had been in the room all along. Clara was bitten on the arm, and the leading officer told Clara that if she cut off her arm now, there was a 50% chance she wouldn't be infected. Clara listened and, without a word, extended her arm, letting the officer help cut it off. This was the first time in a long time that I saw the will to live in Clara's eyes. The officer cut off Clara's arm and instructed a soldier to bring hemostatic medicine. But there wasn't much, just enough to stop the bleeding. Elena, seemingly stimulated by Clara's blood, as if returning to the day she witnessed Clara killing someone, cried out in terror. It seemed to be a stress reaction. Night fell. The soldier Clara saved during the day had been taking care of her. But Clara wasn't doing well. The wound was bleeding, inflamed, and accompanied by a fever. In the apocalypse, medicine was already scarce, and the hemostatic drugs they carried with them had all been used up by the afternoon. This place was also very remote, and it was nighttime, so they didn't risk going back. But seeing Clara like this, everyone was a little anxious. After all, she got like this to save their comrades. The leading officer said, "I'll go back to the camp to get medicine. You guys watch this place." Private stopped him. Watching this scene, I thought, if I go out now, it'll definitely be zombies out there in the dark. But I don't want to expose myself. Yet I want Clara to survive. Suddenly, I remembered a Fachita abandoned entrance when I was building the secret base. It was under the sofa. I could just go through underground and throw the medicine up. Even if they came in through that entrance, they wouldn't reach the real secret base, because the connecting passage in between could only be opened with my fingerprint and magnetic card. And the opening was also very hidden. Even I would need a map to find it. Can't think about it too much now. I took the map, found the location, and quickly walked to the Fachita abandoned entrance. I was lucky that Fatty and his gang hadn't moved the sofa, nor had they even lifted the white cloth. Through the white cloth, I carefully pushed out the fever reducer, iodine, anesthetic, alcohol, and the antibiotics I had bought back at a high price earlier. I also took some water, heating rice, hot pot, and compressed biscuits. I piled all the things under the sofa and then made some noise to attract the soldiers to check. Sensing someone approaching, I quickly ran back, afraid of being discovered by them. By the time I ran back to my secret base, I found that group of people had already given medicine to Clara. Watching Clara, who had been given antibiotics, her complexion gradually improved a bit, and I felt greatly comforted. Hearing those soldiers discussing why these things suddenly appeared under the sofa, and whether they needed to check through the tunnel, the leading officer said, "It should be the original owner of this villa. She is living very well and probably doesn't want to leave with us. Let's not disturb her. Let's divide the things and everyone eat a little. Tomorrow morning, we'll set off back to the camp." At this moment, Elena, looking at the food on the ground, grabbed a box of heating rice and was about to eat it raw, but was discovered by the non-commissioned officer next to her, who snatched it away. It seems Elena's mental state is really not normal. The next day, the morning sunlight filled the earth. I watched this group of young officers and soldiers packing their bags to leave. Clara's condition had also stabilized. They left. The golden sunlight cast a golden sheen on the backs of those young people, making them sparkle. There are always people who bear burdens for us in ordinary life, and there are always people who sacrifice their lives for our peace and quiet. They are all worthy of respect, and I am still living underground, waiting for the day when the flowers bloom.